Maya tightens her lips as they start to shake. She blinks her eyes as tears start to fall down. She takes a bite out of her popsicle, something that always makes her feel better whenever she doesn't feel right. But the sweetness can't seem to coat the taste of bitterness she's holding at the tip of her tongue. Neither the coldness can numb the piercing pain she's feeling deep within her chest. Tears continue to fall down Maya's cheeks. She sniffles as she continues to take a bite out of her popsicle. On a gloomy winter night, right outside the hospital emergency doors. Just a couple of hours earlier tonight, Maya was just on a joyride with Song. They were driving along the coast, heading to scout a lighthouse and a small beach town, a potential filming location for an upcoming movie they just finished writing and now trying to produce. Or for Maya, the outing was merely an excuse for her to spend alone time with Song, whom she looks up to with great admiration, both professionally and romantically, despite him being 10 years her senior. Although Maya could bet that Song feels the same way towards her too. They just both like to keep things on the down low, unbeknownst to each other, out of respect for being colleagues. But who would have known that a romantic joyride for Maya would have turned out to be a life and death car crash for the love of her life. Ring! Loud and sudden emergency alarms startle Maya, making her accidentally drop her popsicle to the ground. The emergency alarm lights are blue, code blue. Maya's eyes widen in fear. She rushes back into the hospital in an instant. Everything is blurry. Everything is muffled. Everything feels numb. The only thing Song can recognize is the scent of Maya's perfume, a light floral feminine scent. It gives him just enough life to remain a little less departed, one little step away from dying. Flashbacks of memories with Maya come flashing in front of his eyes. Regrets of not telling Maya about how he feels come rushing through his skin. If only Maya was closer to his age, he probably would have held back a little less. The young girl just barely made it 18. Although blurry, Song can somehow make out Maya's image right next to his bedside, crying and seemingly trying to talk to him. But Song can barely hear anything. He weakly and slowly reaches his hand up to Maya's face and tries to wipe her tears away. It's okay. Everything is going to be okay, Song tells Maya, caressing her face. Maya shakes her head, crying, and replies back to Song, but Song cannot pick up any sound. Then, just right before his very last breath, Song faintly hears the words, "I like you," come out of Maya's mouth. 18 years pass and Maya is now a successful movie scriptwriter and producer with her own production company, partly thanks to her late scriptwriting mentor. Today, she's interviewing an intern, someone who'll be able to assist with production all around. Despite being really young with barely any experience, Maya decides to give this one applicant an interview opportunity, simply because of his motto that he wrote on his resume. I work hard because of a dream, and that dream is to stay with you. The applicant's motto states. The intern is only fresh off high school, most likely on a summer break before he heads off to college, perhaps to pursue film production. But during the interview, Maya is surprised to find out the boy doesn't plan on going to college. Actually, Maya finds him a little too sure of himself, or maybe even a little too forward, saying things like, "I'm pretty sure I'll be able to learn everything from here and from you, Miss Maya." Something about him makes Maya feel a little uncomfortable, and so Maya decides not to hire him. Daniel's internship rejection from Song Productions doesn't deter him from trying to get into the company over and over again. He goes back to the office the next day, and the next, until Maya finally gives in and decides to give him a chance. Daniel's talents and abilities quickly start to emerge as he spends more time at Song Productions. Maya notices this too and is pleasantly surprised. Oftentimes, Daniel would remind Maya of Maya's late mentor, Song. Maya would see Song's traits, quirks, likes, and dislikes in Daniel, quite eerily similar actually. Maya would always just shake off her observations, but she grows fond of Daniel as her mentee in no time. How is it that a merely 18-year-old fresh off high school seems to know so much about movie production, Maya asks Daniel one time. "I've been doing it all my life." Daniel simply responds with a small smile. Daniel moves forward to a full-time position at Song Productions right after his internship, skipping college. And as years pass, he and Maya become really close colleagues and friends. They go on to produce a handful of movies together, attend movie festivals, events, and gather awards together, as well as break down and cry over failed projects together. They've even come to share a beach together that they frequent for celebrations and escapes alike, whether together or on their own secret beach. One time at a cruise dinner gala event, Daniel gets into a fight with another producer his age. The other producer is from another and much smaller company than Song, but that producer also tried to get into Song Productions at the same time as Daniel, except he failed and feels that Daniel took his spot instead. Drunk and reckless, the other producer spits nasty comments towards Daniel and Maya. He accuses Daniel of seducing Maya just to get to where he is today, and makes fun of Maya having a fascination with younger boys half her age. Daniel doesn't take the latter comment too well and ends up punching the other producer on the face. The other producer hits Daniel back and they get into a fist fight on board. Daniel ends up getting thrown overboard by accident. His body gets lost with the strong current and not found until the next morning, dead. Daniel feels cramped and constricted. He can't seem to open his eyes, but as he slowly regains his senses, he hears a faint lullaby. He feels his body rock back and forth, and that warmth envelopes him. The sensation of another human's touch runs gently across his forehead. As he squints his eyes open, he meets another set of tender eyes smiling at him, a woman's. "Good morning, my dear little Colin," the woman gently whispers. "Colin?" Daniel thinks to himself. "Is that my new name? Oh no, not again." Daniel wakes up in a new body, a newborn's body, and apparently this isn't the first time. Colin cannot believe he has to wait another 18 years before he could approach Maya once again. At least romantically, legally. He grows up frustratingly but patiently. He has done it before as Daniel. He can do it all over again. But being reborn as an infant once more doesn't stop him from watching and following Maya from afar, patiently waiting until the day he can approach her as a man. But as Colin reaches the legal age of 18, he suddenly realizes he doesn't feel comfortable approaching Maya anymore, mainly because he wants to protect Maya's reputation. He definitely doesn't want Maya to suffer the judgment of many once more. After all, Maya is now 54 years of age. So, will Colin meet Maya ever again? As Colin's first or original self has kept reincarnating throughout his infinite lifetimes, he has always managed to keep someone to be with him a few or more, if he's lucky, lifetimes at a time. Someone he could trust with his past, with his accumulated knowledge and fortune, and with his life. A caretaker, a trustworthy assistant, an ultimate right-hand person, and even as an adoptive parent. Whenever he faced death, Colin would leave most of his accumulated fortune to his right-hand person's future offspring, aka none other than Colin's future self. In return, Colin has taken care of all his right-hand people's lives securely and splendidly. In his past few lifetimes now, that right-hand person and adoptive parent is Mr. Sun, who is now a 63-year-old, never been married, retired high school teacher. Mr. Sun was once a trustworthy colleague around Colin's age when Colin used to live as Song, who then switched careers as a high school film teacher and ended up retiring as one. One day, Mr. Sun drives Colin to a reminiscent beach. Per Colin's request, along the way, the two encounter a large trailer truck approaching from the opposite direction, swerving. The truck speeds up as it approaches, seemingly out of control. Then the truck's container cargo starts to come off. Mr. Sun and Colin are about to get hit. Mr. Sun tries to dodge the detached container, but it comes whipping Mr. Sun and Colin's car over the railing and down the cliff. Everything is blurry. Everything is muffled. Everything feels numb. The only thing Colin can barely recognize is the scent of blood. He tries to open his eyes and finds everything upside down. Struggling, he turns his head to the side and sees Mr. Sun looking blankly right back at him, blood dripping down his head. "Mr. Sun," Colin utters, barely conscious. "I promise I'm gonna get you out of..." Colin slowly starts to phase out before he can even finish his sentence. But deep within his mind, he continues to subconsciously think about saving Mr. Sun as well as his own survival. The thought is almost automatic, as if Colin's mind has been trained to think that way in life and death situations. There is indeed a way for Colin to save Mr. Sun, to bestow Mr. Sun the power of reincarnation. But it's Colin's last resort, for if Colin bestows such power to someone else, he loses his own. However, in return, he gains one wish, any wish. Then somehow, whether it's Mr. Sun speaking to Colin through a different dimension, or if Colin's merely dreaming or really in between life and death, Colin could hear Mr. Sun asking him to make one promise. The promise for Colin to wish for another life. His one last life where he's able to approach Maya, pursue her, and be with her until the end of time, confidently and without any restrictions. Maya pops a bottle of sparkling wine and rips open a bag of hamon. She breathes in the salty air and closes her eyes to listen to the sound of waves. She's at a too familiar beach that she hasn't visited in such a long time, feasting in a too familiar way that she hasn't done in such a long time, not since her past mentee's passing. But today is different. She has learned how to let go of guilt and shame, of love and loss, of loves that she never really had, and of losses that she never had proper claims for. She has grown old and weary. Maya stares at her glass of wine for a minute before going in to chug it when, "Do you need someone to share with?" A raspy, manly voice calls out. Startled, Maya almost chokes on her wine. "Excuse me?" "The bottle of wine and the hamon." Maya is taken aback at the man's candidness, so she starts to pack up and leave. "Maya, it's me. Do you not recognize me?" The man tries to stop Maya. It takes a minute for Maya to recognize the man, but when she finally does, her eyes widen and her jaw drops in astonishment. She lifts her hand up to cover her mouth. Then her expression turns to confusion. "Son, is that you? It can't be. I was at your funeral. How?" The man Maya recognizes as son simply gives Maya a smirk. "We have a lot to talk about," he says. Then he walks towards a confused Maya, confidently and without any restrictions. Mr. Sun feels cramped and constricted. He can't seem to open his eyes, but as he slowly regains his senses, he could see through a blur the silhouette of a woman. The woman is humming from a close distance, making or preparing something. Mr. Sun lets out a low gurgling sound, which catches the woman's attention. The woman approaches Mr. Sun with a gentle smile and a milk bottle in her hands. "Hi, my precious. Are you finally awake?" the woman says as she comes close. She then picks up Mr. Sun, whose vision finally starts to clear up. Mr. Sun can now see a clear view of the stranger, and he finds her tender and beautiful. He lifts his hand up to her face, but instead of looking at the beautiful woman's face, Mr. Sun ends up staring at his own hand, not so much with confusion, but rather realization. His hand appears and touches like that of a newborn's.